Shalom, guys. Hey, oh wait, let me turn this mic down. Might be a little loud. Oh man, technical difficulties. Not sure what was going on, but my other laptop wasn't working. So I had to run to the house and grab the main laptop. How's everybody doing? You guys ready to get some scripture reading in? I hope. Speaking of technical difficulties, I was recording I don't know why I didn't do this sooner, but you guys are probably pretty well aware of these. We got these truth tracks that we put in with all our orders. Um, I was reading, I was going through and reading it line by line and trying to do my best, like to give a dramatized version of it, trying to do a little bit of different voices for all the different characters. And it wasn't a long recording, but it was about 15 minutes worth of reading, and then I watched it, and for some reason the audio cut out. So I'll redo that. But I'm getting more acquainted with this truth track, and these things are actually um, pretty awesome. I think that doing a video on it would be probably um a way to amplify the effect of this truth track because I can hand one of these to, let's say, one person, and likely it won't make it past that. But if I read this on here and show it page by page, then, maybe 50 people will watch it, and maybe five of those people will share it with somebody. And, anyways, I'm just saying it seems like it would multiply the efficacy, effectiveness of the track, and I can start doing that for each one of these that we order because I think this is our third one, and I didn't do that with the other two that I had previously, and I wish I had. But anyways, thanks Veronica T. Appreciate you being here. Um, Trying to use this platform to spread the gospel of the kingdom. Um, One thing that occurred to me when I was because Lucia's working on a new "The harvest is plenty, but the workmen are few" T-shirt design, and she's got real cool imagery. It's got some boots on the left chest, and then on the back, it's got a farmer wearing those boots, and I was thinking of the armor of Yah, right? We got the boots of the well, it's said differently in different translations, but the gospel of peace is one that I'm familiar with, or the boots of readiness to preach the gospel of peace. And when Yeshua taught us how to pray, he taught us to say, your kingdom come and your will be done. And really that is the good news, right? That his kingdom is coming and that we're going to have peace. So the gospel of peace, the good news of peace. And how many of us are ready for some peace, for some shalom? Raising children can be not peaceful at times. Sometimes marriage can be not peaceful at times. Work can be less than peaceful. Um, Life can be less than peaceful. And I was just giving praise to Yah because I was going through actually a hard time recently, and I was just it made the good news so much better, so much more attractive. Just putting it in that perspective of when we will have peace and we'll have shalom. Having tribe isn't always peaceful either. That's true. Um, Loving Yah is usually the easier of the two. Loving people, at least for me, I do love people naturally. I'm a extrovert. I love talking to people. I love blessing people and serving people. But of the two, loving Yah is easier because he doesn't have flaws. He doesn't have differences in opinions and his, he has his will, but we have so many differences that we have to overcome, which I think is by design so that we can love past the differences. Because if everybody thought the same and did everything the same, then we would never be challenged to overcome differences. Um, anyways, I don't know why I got started rambling, but um, thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for being patient. I know we were supposed to start this 45 minutes ago, but here we are, better late than never. And now that we've rambled for a good 6 minutes, let's open up in prayer and start reading. Heavenly Father, Yah, thank you for your word. Thank you for the people who've joined me here to hear your word. Father, I pray that you'd bless each person as we, and me and my family, bless each of their families too. As we dig into your word, I pray that it would be a time of edification, of drawing near to you, of fellowship with one another. Father, just thank you for the many blessings you give us. Thank you for the promise of your coming kingdom where we will have real lasting peace and shalom, at least until that small season. Uh, anyways, Father, bless this time as we get in your word. Help me to read clearly so everybody can understand what it is your word is saying. Help us to keep your word in context and to apply what we can to our life. In the name of Yeshua, we pray these things. Amen. Okay, so I don't need more coffee, but I like it. All right. Amen. The encouraging community. Shalom. See, we got a lot, an active chat, especially for being real late to the draw. Divinely blessed designs. Shalom. JS Genesis. Now that you're done eating, we can get started, brother. What did I see something back here that somebody was live on Refuge or what was it? Let me see. Saw you on Refuge live today. Was in the sim. I couldn't chat much. Was that you, Palmetto, live today on Refuge? I'll have to go back and check that out. Bama Buckeye, shalom. All right, let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and share my screen. We're gonna be in Ezekiel chapter 32, and I was way back here. Ezekiel 32. All right, and I'm gonna make the text a bit bigger. Maybe. Oh, it's over here. There we go. Wait, where is it? There we go. Settings. They really buried it in there. All right, let's go with 54. Big text. You guys should be able to see that pretty good on the screen, huh? Especially if I move my melon out of here. Move it down there. Oh, Bob was live. Was Bob on here? Did I see Bob in the chat? No, I don't think so. Oh well. Yeah, I'll go check that out later. All right. Um Ezekiel chapter 32. If you can follow along, or the words are on the screen if you're not driving or working or anything. But if you're hearing it with your ears and seeing it with your eyes, I'm convinced that it's gonna um, be better. All right. And it came to be in the 12th year, in the 12th new moon, on the first of the new moon, that the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation for Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and you shall say to him, You are like a young lion among the nations, and you are like a monster in the seas, and you burst forth in your rivers, and trouble the waters with your feet, and muddy their rivers. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, and I shall spread my net over you with an assembly of my peoples, and they shall bring you up in my net, and I shall leave you on the land, hurl you out on the open fields, and make all the birds of the heaven dwell on you. And with you I shall satisfy the beasts of all the earth, and I shall put your flesh on the mountains, and fill the valleys with your height, and the water and the land with the flow of your blood unto the mountains, and let streams be filled with you. And when I extinguish you, I shall cover the heavens and make its stars dark. And I shall cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. All the bright lights of the heavens I shall make dark over you, and I shall bring darkness upon your land, declares the Master Yahuwah. And I shall trouble the heart of many peoples, and I bring your destruction among the nations, into the lands which you have not known. And I shall make many peoples appalled at you, and their kings shall be greatly afraid of you when I swing my sword before them. And they shall tremble continually, every man for his own life, in the day of your fall. For thus said the Master Yahuwah, the sword of the king of Babel shall come upon you. By the sword of the mighty men, all of them, the ruthless ones of the nations, I shall make your host fall, and they shall ravage your arrogance of Mitzrayim. They shall ravage the arrogance of Mitzrayim, and all its hosts shall be destroyed. And I shall destroy all its beasts from beside its great waters, and let the foot of man trouble them no more, nor let the hooves of beasts trouble them. Then I shall make their waters clear, and make their rivers run like oil, declares the Master Yahuwah. When I lay the land of Mitzrayim waste, and the land shall be stripped of all that once filled it, when I have stricken all who dwell in it, then they shall know that I am Yahuwah. This is the lamentation, and they shall lament her, for the daughters of the nations lament her. Sorry. This is the lamentation, verse 16, and they shall lament her. The daughters of the nations lament her. Over Mitzrayim and over all her crowd they shall lament her, declares the Master Yahuwah. And it came to be in the 12th year, on the 15th of the new moon, that the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, wail over the crowd of Mitzrayim, and send them down to the depths of the earth, her and her daughters of the mighty nations, with those going down to the pit. Are you more pleasant than others? Go down, be placed with the uncircumcised. In the midst of those slain by the sword they fall. She shall be given to the sword, drawing her and all her crowds. The mightiest among the mighty speak to him out of the midst of Sheol with those who help him. They have gone down. They lie with the uncircumcised, slain by the sword. Ashur is there, and all her assembly, with their burial sites all around her, all of them slain, fallen by the sword, whose burial sites are set in the sides of the pit, and her assembly is all around her burial place. All of them slain, fallen by the sword, because they instilled fear in the land of the living. There is Elam and all her crowd around her. There is Elam and all her crowd around her burial place. All of them slain, fallen by the sword. who have gone down uncircumcised to the lower parts of the earth, because they instilled fear in all the land of the living, and they bear their shame with those going down to the pit. They have set their bed in the midst of the slain, with all her crowd, with her burial sites all around it. Of all them uncircumcised, slain by the sword, for the fear they instilled in the land of the living. So they bear their shame and those going down to the pit, with those going down to the pit. In the midst of the slain they have been placed. There are Meshach and Tubal and all her crowd with all their burial sites around it, all of them uncircumcised, slain by the sword, because they instilled fear in the land of the living. And they shall not lie with the mighty who are fallen of the uncircumcised, who have gone down to Sheol with their battle gear, and whose swords were laid under their heads. But their crookednesses are on their bones because of the fear of the mighty in the land of the living. And you shall be broken in the midst of the uncircumcised, and lie with those slain by the sword. There is Edom, her sovereigns and all her princes, who shall be given up in their might. With those slain by the sword, with the uncircumcised they lie, and with those going down to the pit. There are the princes of the north, all of them, and all the Sidonians, who have gone down with the slain, because of the fear they instilled. They are ashamed of their might, and they lie uncircumcised with those slain by the sword, and bear their shame with those going down to the pit. Pharaoh and all his armies shall see them, and he shall be comforted for all his hosts that were slain by the sword, declares the Master Yahuwah. For I have put a fear of them in the land of the living, yet he shall be placed in the midst of the uncircumcised, with those slain by the sword. Pharaoh and all his hosts, declares the Master Yahuwah. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people, and you shall say to them, When I bring the sword upon a land, and the people of the land shall take a man from their borders, and shall make them their watchmen, and he sees the sword coming upon the land, and shall blow with a shofar, and shall warn the people. Then whoever shall hear the voice of the shofar, and shall not take warning, if the sword comes and takes him away, his blood is on his own head. He heard the voice of the shofar, but he did not take warning. His blood is on himself. But he who takes warning shall deliver his being. But if the watchman sees the sword coming and shall not blow the shofar, and the people shall not be warned, and the sword comes and takes any being from among them, he is taken away in his crookedness, and his blood I require at the watchman's hand. And you, son of man, I have made you a watchman over the house of Israel, and you shall hear a word from my mouth, and you shall warn them from me. When I say to the wrong, O wrong one, you shall certainly die, and you have not spoken to warn the wrong from his way, that wrong one shall die in his crookedness, and his blood I require at your hand. But when you have warned the wrong to turn from his way, and he has not turned from his way, he shall die in his crookedness, but you have delivered your being. And you, O son of man, say to the house of Israel, this is what you have said. If our transgressions and our sins lie upon us, and we pine away in them, how then shall we live? Say to them, As I live, declares the Master Yahuwah, I have no pleasure in the death of the wrong, but that the wrong turn from his way and live. Turn back from your evil ways, for why should you die, O house of Israel? And you, O son of man, say to the children of your people, the righteousness of the righteous man shall not deliver him in the day of his transgression. And as for the wrongness of the wrong, he shall not stumble because of it. And as for the wrongness of the wrong, he shall not stumble because of it in the day that he turns from his wrong. And the righteous shall not be able to live because of his righteousness in the day that he sins. When I say to the righteous that he shall live, and he has trusted in his righteousness, and shall do unrighteousness, none of his righteousness shall be remembered. But because of his unrighteousness that he has done, he shall die. Again, when I say to the wrong, you shall certainly die. If he turns from his sin and does right and righteousness, if he if the wrong restores the pledge, gives back what he has stolen, and walks in the laws of life without doing crookedness, he shall certainly live. He shall not die. So that's what repentance looks like. When I say to the wrong, you shall certainly die. If he turns from his sin and does right and righteousness, if he restores the pledge, gives back what he has stolen, and walks in the laws of life without doing crookedness, he shall certainly live. He shall not die. Verse 16, none of his sins which he has committed shall be remembered against him. He has done right and righteousness. He shall certainly live. And the children of your people have said, the way of Yahuwah is not fair, but it is their way which is not fair. When the righteous turns from his righteousness and does unrighteousness, he shall die because of it. But when the wrong turns from his wrongness and does right and righteousness, he shall live because of it. And you have said, the way of Yahuwah is not fair, O house of Israel. I shall judge every one of you according to his own ways. And it and it and it came to be in the 12th year of our exile, in the 10th month, on the 5th of the new moon, that one that one sorry guys. And it came to be, verse 21, in the 12th year of our exile, in the 10th month, on the 5th of the new moon, that one who had escaped from Jerusalem came to me and said, the city has been stricken, and the hand of Yahuwah came upon me the evening before the man came who had escaped, and he had opened my mouth before he came to me in the morning. And my mouth was opened, and I was no longer silent. Then the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, they who inhabit those ruins in the land of Israel are saying, Abraham has only one, and he inherited the land. But we are many. Let the land be given to us as a possession. Therefore say to them, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, you eat meat with blood, and you lift up your eyes toward the idols and shed blood. Should you then possess the land? You depend on your sword, and you commit abominations, and each of you defiles his neighbor's wife. Should you then possess the land? Say this to them, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, As I live, those who are in the ruins shall fall by the sword, and the one who is in the open field I shall give to the beast to be devoured, and those who are in the strongholds and caves shall die of the pestilence. And I shall make the land a desert and a waste. The arrogance of her strength shall cease, and the mountains of Israel shall be a waste, with none passing through. And they shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I have made the land a desert and a waste, because of all their abominations which they have done. As for you, son of man, the children of your people beside the walls are talking about you beside the walls and in the doors of the houses. And they speak to each other, each saying to his brother, Please come and hear what the word is that comes from Yahuwah. And they come to you as people do, and they sit before you as my people, and they hear your words, but they do not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, their hearts pursue their greedy gain. With their lips they uh, they claim they love him, but their heart is far from them. There's a parallel verse. Verse 32, and see, you are to them as a very lovely song of one who has a beautiful voice and playing well on an instrument. And they hear your words, but they do not do them. And when it comes, see, it shall come, then they shall know that a prophet has been in their midst. Chapter 34. I'm gonna come over here real quick. Um, yeah, the large text helping you out, JS Genesis. Good, good. Um, um, so yeah, I got nothing. You guys got anything on what we're reading here? We'll just go ahead and keep reading. Put it in the chat. If you guys have anything parallels, if while I'm reading this, while you're following along, if there's anything that stands out to you, or anything that you have for edification, please share it in the chat. I mean, I'm not trying to pressure you guys just to leave comments. I don't think it. I mean, that doesn't do anything for the YouTube, anyways. But I just want it to be a good place where we can edify each other and sometimes, like, especially brothers like JS Genesis Designs, he's pointed things out um in regards to the two witnesses that was very eye-opening. So if you guys have anything to share that you're seeing in here, please do. All right, continuing on, chapter 34. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, Thus said the Master Yahuwah to the shepherds, Woe to the shepherds of Israel who have been feeding themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flock? You eat the fat and you eat the fat and you put on the wool. You slaughter the fatlings, you do not feed the flock. You have not strengthened the weak, nor have you healed the sick, nor bound up the broken, nor brought back the straying, nor sought what was lost, but you have ruled them with might and harshness. This sounds like he's referencing Isaiah. You have not strengthened the weak, nor have healed the sick, nor bound up the broken, nor brought back the straying, nor sought what was lost, but you have ruled them with might and harshness. And they were scattered because there was no shepherd, and they became food for all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. My sheep wandered through all the mountains, and on every high hill, and my sheep were scattered over all the face of the earth, and no one was seeking or searching for them. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of Yahuwah. As I live, declares the Master Yahuwah, because my flock became a prey, and my flock became food for every beast of the field, from not having a shepherd, and my shepherds did not search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and did not feed my flock. Therefore, O shepherds, hear the word of Yahuwah. Now, this is potentially for some of us that the Father has trusted us to feed his sheep. Okay, so give an ear to this. Verse 10, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I am against the shepherds, and shall require my flock at their hand, and shall make them cease feeding the sheep, and the shepherds shall feed themselves no more. And I shall deliver my flock from their mouths, and they shall no longer be food for them. For thus, and I think, honestly, this probably speaks a lot to um, the Big C church that is not stewarding and shepherding the sheep um, with the full word, not giving them all the bread. But anyways, I'll keep reading. For thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I myself shall search for my sheep and seek them out. As a shepherd seeks out his flock on the day he is among his scattered sheep, so I shall seek out my sheep and deliver them from all the places where they were scattered in a day of cloud and thick darkness. And I shall bring them out from the peoples and gather them from the lands, and shall bring them to their own land, and I shall feed them on the mountains of Israel, in the valleys, and in all the dwellings of the land. In good pasture I shall feed them, and their fold shall be on the high mountains of Israel. They shall lie there in a good fold and feed in rich pasture on the mountains of Israel. And I shall feed my flock and make them lie down, declares the Master Yahuwah. I shall seek out the lost and bring back the strayed. And I shall bind up the broken and strengthen what was sick. But the fat and the strong I shall destroy, and I shall feed them with right ruling. And as for you, O my flock, thus said the Master Yahuwah, see, I am judging between sheep and sheep, between rams and goats. Is it not enough for you to have eaten up the good pasture, and the rest of the pasture you trample with your feet? Or that you should drink of the clear water, and the rest you muddy with your feet? And as for my flock, they eat what you have trampled with your feet, and they drink what you have muddied with your feet. Therefore, thus said the Master Yahuwah to them, see, I myself shall judge between fat and lean sheep, because you have pushed with flank and shoulder, and thrust all the weak ones with your horns, and scattered them abroad. Therefore I shall save my flock, and let them no longer be a prey. And I shall judge between sheep and sheep, and I shall raise up over them one shepherd, my servant David, and he shall feed them. He shall feed them and be their shepherd. And I, Yahuwah, shall be their Elohim, and my servant David, a prince in their midst. I, Yahuwah, have spoken. And I shall make a covenant of peace with them, and make evil beasts cease from the land. And they shall dwell safely in the wilderness, and sleep in the forest. And I shall make them and the places all around my hill a blessing, and shall cause showers to come down in their season. Showers of blessing they are. And the trees of the field shall yield their fruit, and the earth yield her increase, and they shall be safe in the land. And they shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I have broken the bars of their yoke, and I shall deliver them from the hand of those who enslaved them. And they shall no longer be a prey for the nations, and the beast of the earth shall not devour them. And they shall dwell safely, with no one to make them afraid. And I shall raise up for them a planting place of name, and they shall no longer be consumed by hunger in the land, nor bear the shame of the nations any more. And they shall know that I, Yahuwah, their Elohim, am with them, and that they, the house of Israel, are my people, declares the Master Yahuwah. And you, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your Elohim, declares the Master Yahuwah. And I was just kind of talking about that at the beginning of this, right? How we have a promise of peace that will no longer be being taken advantage of by um, anybody. The system will have been defeated. Chapter 35. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. And you shall say to it, thus said the Master Yahuwah, see, O Mount Seir, I am against you, and shall stretch out my hand against you, and shall make you a ruin and a waste. Your cities I destroy, and let you be a ruin. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah, because you have had a continuous enmity, and handed the children of Israel over to the power of the sword at the time of their calamity, at the time of the crookedness of the end. Therefore, as I live, declares the Master Yahuwah, I shall appoint you for blood, and let blood pursue you, since you did not hate blood, therefore blood shall pursue you. And I shall make Mount Seir a ruin and a waste, and cut off from it the one who leaves and the one who returns, and shall fill its mountains with the slain, those slain by the sword, falling on your hills and in your valleys and in all your ravines. I shall make you an everlasting ruin, and your cities uninhabited, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Because you have said, these two nations and these two lands are mine, and we shall possess them. Although Yahuwah was there, therefore, as I live, declares the Master Yahuwah, I shall do according to your displeasure and according to your envy, which you showed in your hatred against them. And I shall make myself known among them when I judge you. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah. I have heard all your scorns which you have spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid waste. They were given to us for food. And with your mouth you have boasted against me and increased your words against me. I myself have heard. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, as all the earth is rejoicing, I shall make you a ruin. As you rejoiced because the inheritance of the house of Israel was laid waste, so I do to you. Be a ruin, O Mount Seir, as well as all of Edom, all of it, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. Chapter 36. Shut this door real quick. See if I can. I don't think that's going to work. This will have to work. Sorry, guys. I need to stand up. All right. Chapter 36. Mary Seal, Shalom. Oh, there's some comments. I want to read these. Okay. If you can copy and paste those scriptures, the encouraging community, that'd be awesome. And then I can put them on the screen so that so we can share those. What does this say? They rob the flock and keep the best for themselves. Woe to the hirelings. All right. All right. Chapter 36. And you, son of man, prophesy to the mountains of Israel. And you shall say, O mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahuwah. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, because the enemy has said to you, Aha, the heights of old have become our possession. Therefore prophesy, and you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, because they laid you waste and swallowed you up on every side, so that you became the possession of the rest of the nations, and you are taken up by the lips of talkers and slanderers by the people. Therefore, O mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Master Yahuwah. Thus said the Master Yahuwah to the mountains, and to the hills, to the rivers, and to the valleys, and to the deserted ruins, and to the cities that have been forsaken, which become a prey and a mocking to the rest of the nations all around. Therefore, thus said the Master Yahuwah, have I not spoken in my burning jealousy against the rest of the nations, and against all Edom, who gave my land to themselves as a possession, with all joy of heart, with scorn in their being, to drive it out for a prey? Therefore prophesy concerning the land of Israel, and you shall say to mountains and to hills, to rivers and to valleys, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, see, I have spoken in my jealousy and my wrath, because you have borne the shame of the nations. Therefore, thus said the Master Yahuwah, I have lifted my hand in an oath that the nations that are that are around you shall bear their own shame. But you, O mountains of Israel, put forth your branches and bear your fruit to my people Israel, for they are about to come. For look, I am for you, and I shall turn to you, and you shall be tilled and sown. I shall increase men upon you, all the house of Israel, all of it, and the cities shall be inhabited, and the ruins rebuilt. And I shall increase upon you man and beast, and they shall increase and bear young, and I shall make you inhabited as of old, and do better for you than at your beginnings. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah, and I shall let men, my people Israel, walk upon you, and let them possess you, and you shall be their inheritance, and no longer let you add to their bereavement. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, because they say to you, you devour men and have bereaved your nation. Therefore you shall no longer devour men, and no longer bereave your nation, declares the Master Yahuwah. And no longer shall I let you hear the insults of the nations and the reproach of the peoples. You shall bear no more, and no longer cause your nations to stumble, declares the Master Yahuwah. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own ways and deeds. To me their way was like the uncleanness of a woman in her monthly period. So I poured out my wrath on them for the blood they had shed on the land, and for the idols they defiled it. And I scattered them, verse 19, among the nations, and they were dispersed throughout the lands. I have judged them according to their ways and their deeds. And when they came to the nations, wherever they went, they profaned my set apart name, for it was said of them, These are the people of Yahuwah, and yet they have gone out of his land. But I had compassion on my set apart name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the nations wherever they went. Therefore, say to the house of Israel, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, I do not do this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for my set apart name's sake, which you have profaned among the nations wherever you went. And I shall set apart my great name, which has been profaned among the nations, which you have profaned in their midst, and the nations shall know that I am Yahuwah, declares the Master Yahuwah, when I am set apart in you before their eyes. And I shall take you from among the nations, and I shall gather you out of all the lands, and I shall bring you into your own land. And I shall sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols I cleanse you. And I shall give you a new heart, and put a new spirit within you. And I shall take the heart of stone out of your flesh, and I shall give you a heart of flesh, and put my spirit within you. And I shall cause you to walk in my laws, and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I shall be your Elohim. And I shall save you from all your uncleanness, and I shall call for the grain and increase. And I shall call for the grain and increase it, and I shall bring no scarcity of food upon you. And I shall increase the fruit of your trees and the increase of your fields, so that you need never again bear the reproach of scarcity of food among the nations. And you shall remember your evil ways and your deeds that were not good, and you shall loathe yourselves in your own eyes for your crookednesses and your abominations. Not for your sake am I acting, declares the Master Yahuwah. Let it be known to you. Be ashamed and blush for your ways, O house of Israel. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, on the day that I cleanse you from all your crookednesses, I shall cause the cities to be inhabited, and the and the ruined places shall be rebuilt. and the land that was laid waste tilled instead of being a ruin before the eyes of all who pass by. And they shall say, this land that was laid waste has become like the Garden of Eden, and the deserted, and the destroyed cities are now walled and inhabited. Then the nations which are left all around you shall know that I, Yahuwah, have rebuilt the destroyed places and planted what was laid waste. I, Yahuwah, have spoken it, and I shall do it. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, once again I shall let the house of Israel inquire of me to do for them. Inquire of me to do for them. I shall increase their men like a flock. As a set apart flock, as the flock at Jerusalem at her appointed times, so shall the wasted cities be filled with flocks of men, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. Chapter 37. And the hand of Yahuwah was upon me, and took me out by the Spirit of Yahuwah, and set me down in the midst of the valley, and it was filled with bones. And he made me pass among them all around, and see, there were many, very many on the surface of the valley, and see, they were very dry. And he said to me, Son of man, would these bones live? And I said, O Master Yahuwah, you know. Again he said to me, Prophesy to these bones, and you shall say to them, O dry bones, hear the word of Yahuwah. Thus said the Master Yahuwah to these bones, See, I am bringing you into a spirit, and you shall live. And I shall put sinews on you, and bring flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put a spirit in you, and you shall live. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah. And I prophesied as I was commanded. And as I prophesied, there was a noise, and there was a rattling, and the bones came together, bone to bone. And I looked and saw sinews and flesh came upon them, and skin covered them, but there was no spirit in them. He then said to me, Prophesy to the Spirit. Prophesy, Son of Man, and you shall say to the Spirit, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, Come from the four winds, O Spirit, and breathe on these killed bones, so that they live. Hallelujah, amen. And I prophesied as he commanded me, and the Spirit came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, a very great army. And he said to me, Son of man, these bones are all the house of Israel. See, they say, Our bones are dry, our expectancy has perished, and we ourselves have been cut off. Therefore prophesy, and you shall say to them, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, O my people, I am opening your burial sites, and shall bring you up from your burial sites, and shall bring you into the land of Israel. Speaking of the resurrection, question mark. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah when I open your burial sites, my people, and bring you up from your burial sites. And I shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall settle you in your own land. And you shall know that I, Yahuwah, have spoken, and I have done it, declares Yahuwah. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, And you, son of man, take a stick for yourself, and write on it for Yehudah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick, and write on it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. Then bring them together for yourself into one stick, and they shall become one in your hand. And when the children of your people speak to you, saying, Won't you show us what you mean by these? Say to them, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I am taking the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his companions, and I shall give them unto him, and the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the sticks on which you write shall be in your hand before their eyes, and speak to them. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I am taking the children of Israel from among the nations, wherever they have gone, and shall gather them from all around, and shall bring them into their land. And I shall make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king over them. And let them no longer be two nations, and let them no longer be divided into reigns or kingdoms. And they shall no longer defile themselves with their idols, nor with their disgusting matters, nor with any of their transgressions, and I shall save them from all their dwelling places in which they have sinned, and I shall cleanse them, and they shall be my people, and I be their Elohim. While David my servant is king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd and walk in my right rulings, and guard my laws, and shall do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob my servant, where your fathers dwelt, and they shall dwell in it, they and their children, and the children's children forever, and my servant David be their prince forever. And I shall make a covenant of peace with them, an everlasting covenant it is with them. And I shall place them and increase them, and shall place my set apart place in their midst forever. And my dwelling place shall be over them, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And the nations shall know that I, Yahuwah, am setting Israel apart, and my set apart place is in their midst forever. That's good stuff. Chapter 38. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And you shall say, Thus says the Master Yahuwah, See, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal. And I shall turn you around, and I shall put hooks into your jaws, and shall lead you out, and all your army, horses and horsemen, clad perfectly, a great assembly with armor and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Cush, and Put are with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all its bands, the house of Togarma, far from the far north, and all its bands, many peoples with you. Be ready, prepare yourselves, you and all your assemblies that are assembled unto you. And you shall be a guard for them. After many days you shall be called up. In the latter years you shall come into the land of those brought back from the sword, and gathered for many people on the mountains of Israel, which had been a continual waste. But they were brought out of the peoples, and all of them shall dwell safely. And you shall go up, coming like a storm, covering the land like a cloud, you and all your bands, and many peoples with you. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, and it shall be in that day that words arise in your heart, and you shall devise an evil plan. And you shall say, Let me go up against a land of unwalled villages. Let me go to those at rest who dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, to take plunder and to take booty, to stretch out your hand against the waste places that are again inhabited, and against the people gathered from the people, acquiring livestock and goods, who dwell in the middle of the land, Sheba and Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish, and all their young lions shall say to you, Have you come to take plunder? Have you gathered your army to take booty, to bear away silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, to take great plunder? Therefore, Son of man, prophesy, and you shall say to Gog, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, in that day when my people Israel dwell safely, would you not know? And you shall come from your place out of the far north, you and many peoples with you, all of them riding on horses, a great assembly and a mighty army. And you shall come up against my people Israel like a cloud, to cover the land. In the latter days it shall be. and I shall bring you against my land, in order that the nations know me. Then, when I am, in order that the nations know me, when I am set apart in you, O Gog, before their eyes. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, are you the one I spoke of in former days by my servants, the prophets of Israel, who prophesied for years in those days to bring you against them? And it shall be on that day and it shall be on that day, verse 18, on the day when God comes against the land of Israel, declares the Master Yahuwah, that my wrath shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath I have spoken. On that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so that the fish of the sea and the birds of the heavens, and the beasts of the field, and all creeping creatures that creep on the earth, and all men who are on the face of all the earth shall shake at my presence. And the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall fall to the ground. I don't know why, but that's interesting to me that he names this. He names all these off in order that they were created in. The fish and the fish of the sea and the birds of the heaven, and then it gives us the beasts and the creeping creatures, and then men. I don't know why that stood out to me. That might have been a squirrel moment. Sorry, guys. Verse 21, and I shall call for a sword against Gog on all my mountains, declares the Master Yahuwah, the sword of each one being against his brother. And I shall judge him with pestilence and blood, and rain down flooding rain and hailstones, fire and sulfur on him and on his bands, and on the many peoples who are with him. And I shall exalt myself and set myself apart, and I shall be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. Chapter 39. Check over here, see if everybody's tracking. What's up, Kermode Bear? I might have an answer. I don't know. What's your question? Can you go shut the chicken coop for Lucia? Yes. Thank you for relaying that message. I will do that. Where is that? Oh, that's so funny. Gotcha. Praise y'all. Thanks you guys for relaying that. I will definitely shut the chicken coop. Got it. Glad I checked the chat. Yep. And I'll shut the babies up too. I know when I'm reading, all I can see is the scriptures on screen. I don't I did fall into that trap. Um yeah, all I'm seeing is this screen back here. So, appreciate you relaying that. Let's go for how many chapters did we read? I spent way too much time talking at the beginning of this, so we didn't get very far. I was hoping to make it through the book of Ezekiel in just one more video. So doing like another live tomorrow to finish up the book of Ezekiel, but it looks like we got 8 chapters and I spent an hour only doing what, 7? I guess we could probably do it. Yeah, we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What? Oh, so tomorrow would be 10 chapters. All right, well, let's hit one more chapter, and we'll come back tomorrow for yeah, it's not that long of a chapter. You guys good with that? We'll read this last chapter, and yeah, we'll be good. Yeah, we started at 32. Oh, I gotta take that down. All right. So we'll remember that, guys. I always have to go back and check where we left off because my Bible app gets moved around to different pages. Chapter 39. Let's get it. Oops, where's it? There we go. And you, son of man, prophesy against Gog, and you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, and you shall turn and sorry, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, and shall turn you around and lead you on, and bring you up from the uttermost part of the north, and bring you against the mountains of Israel, and shall strike the bow out of your left hand, and make the arrows fall from your right hand. On the mountains, for some reason, I just thought of a Bible trivia question. You know, where so they're talking to Gog, Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, and their archers were right-handed, apparently. Shall turn you around and lead you on, and bring you up from the uttermost parts of the north, and bring you against the mountains of Israel, and shall strike the bow out of your left hand, and make the arrows fall out of your right hand. On the mountains of Israel you shall fall, you and all your bands, and the peoples who are with you. To the birds of prey of every sort, and to the beasts of the field I shall give you for food. On the face of the field you shall fall, for I have spoken, declares the Master Yahuwah, and I shall send fire upon Magog and all those who live undisturbed in the coastlands, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. And I shall make my set apart name known in the midst of my people Israel, and not let my set apart name be profaned any more. And the nations shall know that I am Yahuwah, the set apart one of Israel. See, it shall come, and it shall be done, declares the Master Yahuwah. This is the day of which I have spoken. And those who inhabit the cities of Israel shall go out and set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and armor, the bows and arrows, the clubs and spears, and they shall make fires with them for 7 years, and take no and take no wood from the field, nor cut We cut out, didn't we? Um, I'm in Ezekiel for my daily readings right now. Praise Yah. Hey, shalom, Richard Barber. Uh, so I'm guessing you guys didn't catch much of the chapter. I just finished it, but sometime after verse 9 or 10. Um, if you guys are up for it, we'll read it again. We'll read it again. It's no big, no big. Um, automatic chicken doors. Lucia's been asking me to do that. I'm gonna have to get on that. Automatic chicken doors. See? Right now, I could just be shutting the chicken door and continuing to read like no problem. But I mean, we're gonna continue to read no problem anyways, but all right, all right, all right. Let's get it. All right. The weather's pretty bad out there, so I mean, hopefully that's why it cut out on me. So we're getting some lightning and probably the reason the internet went down for a second. All right. Chapter 29. About to hear some rain. Here, I'm going to put this a little closer. Can you guys hear me okay? Did I say 29? Did I say 49? You guys keeping me on track. Thanks. Chapter 39. Okay. I'm turning the mic down some. Is that too low? Let me know if that's too low. Because I'm just trying. Uh oh. Hold on a sec, guys. What's going on? Hey, hey, what's up? Yeah, we're still live. Um, we're still live. I'm gonna finish this chapter and I'm gonna go shut the chicken coop. I only have uh one more chapter. Yep, you got it. Love you. Bye. Sorry guys. All right. Sharing. Uh-oh, I shared the wrong thing. All right. Chapter 39. You guys are a very patient bunch, and I appreciate that. Let's go ahead. Oh, wait. Did you say the volume could go up a little higher? How's that? A little bit better? I'll get close to the mic. The rain's kind of loud. We got a metal roof, so I just wanted to make sure you're not picking up too much of the rain noise. Cool. Not too close to the mic. Guys don't have to listen to me heavy breathing. Okay. No, we need to go back one. Chapter 39. I better get it. We're going to get cut out again. All right. And you, son of man, prophesy against Gog, and you shall say, thus said the master Yahuwah, See, I am sending you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, and shall turn you around and lead you on, and bring you up from the uttermost part of the earth, and shall bring you against the mountains of Israel, and shall strike the bow out of your left hand, and make the arrows fall from your right hand. On the mountains of Israel you shall fall. You shall all, you and all your bands, and the peoples who are with you. To the birds of prey of every sort, and to the beasts of the field I shall give you for food. On the face of the field you shall fall, for I have spoken, declares the Master Yahuwah. And I shall send fire upon Magog and on all those who live undisturbed in the coastlands, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. And I shall make my set apart name known in the midst of my people Israel, and not let my set apart name be profaned any more. And the nations shall know that I am Yahuwah, the set apart one of Israel. See, I see it shall come, and it shall be done, declares the Master Yahuwah. This is the day of which I have spoken. And those who inhabit the cities of Israel shall go out and set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and armor, and bows and arrows, and clubs and spears, and they shall make fires with them for 7 years, and take no wood from the field, nor cut down any from the forest. For with the weapons they make fire, and they shall plunder those who plundered them, and loot those who looted them, declares the Master Yahuwah. And it shall be on that day that I give Gog a place for a burial site there in Israel, the valley of those passing by east of the sea, and stopping those passing by, because there they shall bury Gog and all his crowd, and shall call it the valley of Haman Gog. And the house of Israel shall bury them for 7 new moons, in order to cleanse the land. And all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be for a name to them on the day that I am esteemed, declares the Master Yahuwah. And they shall separate men who continually pass through the land, burying those who were passing through, those left on the surface of the ground, in order to cleanse it. At the end of 7 new moons they shall search, and those passing through shall pass through the land. And when anyone sees a man's bone, he shall set up a sign beside it, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Haman Gog. And also a city named Hamona shall be there, so that they cleanse the land. And you, son of man, thus said the Master Yahuwah, speak to every sort of bird and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves and come together from all around to my slaughtering, which I am slaughtering for you, a great slaughtering for the mountains of Israel. And you shall eat flesh and drink blood. Eat the flesh of the mighty, drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams and lambs, of goats and bulls, and of all the fatlings of Bashan. And you shall eat fat till you are filled, and drink blood till you are drunk, at my slaughtering, which I am slaughtering for you. And you shall be satisfied at my table with horses and riders, with mighty men, and with all the men of battle, declares the Master Yahuwah. And I shall set my esteem among the nations, and all nations shall see my judgment which I have executed, and my hand which I have laid on them. And the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahuwah their Elohim from that day onward. And the nations shall know that the house of Israel went into exile for their crookednesses, because they have trespassed against me, so that I hid my face from them. And I gave them into the hand of their adversaries, and they all fell by the sword. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions, I have dealt with them and hidden my face from them. Therefore, thus said the Master Yahuwah, now I am going to bring back the captives of Jacob, and I shall have compassion on all the house of Israel, and shall be jealous for my name's sake, for my set apart name. And they shall have borne their shame and all their trespass they committed against me, when they dwell safely in their own land, with none to make them afraid. When I have brought them back from the peoples and gathered them out of the lands of their enemies, and I shall be set apart in them before the eyes of many nations. And they shall know that I am Yahuwah their Elohim, who sent them into exile among the nations, and then gathered them back to their own land, and left none of them behind. And no longer do I hide my face from them, for I shall have poured out my spirit on the house of Israel, declares the Master, Yahuwah. Did we make it, or did we cut out? Are we good? All right. We made it. We made it. We made it. Okay. Stop screen. Cool deal, guys. And the rain's letting up a little bit, maybe not. But once again, thanks guys for coming and reading scripture with me. I always say it's like a good meal. It's gonna be good whether I share it with you or just enjoy it by myself. But a good meal is always more enjoyable when it's shared with people you love. And so thanks for coming and sharing this good meal with me. Um, we'll catch you in a live stream tomorrow where we'll pick up on chapter 40 of Ezekiel. Have an awesome night. Shalom and blessings.